We're just a few minutes away from beginning to roll. So there's 2 camera crews and I am the DP for camera crew B. First task is to get some B-roll of a guy in his office. Normally I like to be on gimbal, but I don't want to have to take all this stuff on and off. So we're going to be on tripod, and then if I need to pop the camera off to go handheld, we can. And really I just need a little bit of lighting. So I could use these, I think they're called Titan tubes, with this little tripod available, but they only go about yay high. So I might go grab my 200X and then bounce it up into the ceiling to get some general room fill. Yesterday I posted a vlog about what I did with the Scout Day, and I had a couple people commenting, they're flying you from Florida to Arizona with all the costs for travel, hotels. Why don't they just book someone local? And in my opinion, it's because I've worked with this client before and they have proof of concept that I can do the job, work well with them, keep the workflow going, and they don't have to take the risk of hiring someone who is unknown to them. That would be cheaper. There would be no travel costs, but they would rather just go with what's secure. And that happens a lot, and that's why I travel for freelancing a lot. So this interview, I loved it. You can see the building in the back is hot, but it's not burnt. And this was a real bummer because before our interview subject walked in, everything was perfectly exposed and nothing was too bright. But once he stepped in, the glasses were showing a ton of reflection, so we had to raise the lights up, which reduced the output, and he had darker skin tone, so it kind of messed with the exposure overall. The B angle honestly looked better because it had dark leaves in the background. We could have a much more even exposure, and that kind of brings me to one of the benefits with this job, and I get to use for the first time 2 300Cs. It's RGB when I'm used to mostly having bicolor, and I'm in this situation a lot where you have a large wall of windows and you need a ton of output. They did okay. I think I would have more use with one 600X, just because it takes up less space. You don't have 2 power supplies, you don't have 2 stands, but I can understand how some people would want 2 300Cs for the customization.
Each and every day. With a consistent approach.
You may recognize this host. She's very famous in the golf world, and I love how this frame is turning out, and you're going to see a bunch of these moving from interview setup to stand up, talking directly to camera over and over and over again, and trying to make them as polished as possible. And that is one of the reasons why they hired me. I've worked with them before, and I market myself as someone who can do these very pretty interviews. And it really helps because they rented a lot of lights, and that allows me to craft the image a lot easier than with the current kit that I have. So current kit that I have, 200X. This one's mine, and this was just the backlight kind of hair rim. Reflector helped bring that together, and of course always plugged in because it can't do battery power. And this is our teleprompter setup. I am not a fan of teleprompters. Of course you have to use them for certain jobs, and this one was packed pretty well, so I did like having the time to do that in the Scout Day yesterday. And then we're using lanterns on a few of the lights. We do have an Octobox as well. It was one of those quick open ones. We're just kind of working and experimenting with ratios of key, fill, rim, very, very simple 3-point lighting, and then trying to get the right level on the background. And our teleprompter setup has a host iPad, which is using the app Teleprompter Pro. I forgot how much it costs, but it allows you to use another device to be the remote. So we connected another iPad, and that way whatever the producer scrolls onto on the remote, the host will reflect that. Now, it sounds perfect, but it doesn't work as good as you would hope. Sometimes it's a little bit off. Sometimes what the host is reading is at the top of the page, whereas the remote's at the bottom. Yeah, this thing is heavy. You gotta be really careful moving it around. But I'm glad I have a sturdy tripod. The other ones I had before definitely would not work in this situation. For this shot, we're gonna have our host walk this way, and the camera's gonna be down at that end. She'll be looking that way, and then the whole stairway will be filled with employees, and it's gonna be like a, hey, we are this company type of thing.
Of course, we're going to respect the privacy of these employees, but it is so nice when you get to work on a good crew. Like I said, I've done a lot of one-man band stuff, but it is amazing when you have dedicated producers, dedicated PAs, and they can help orchestrate the moment rather than you running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So this was the actual shot. It's blurry, but you can still see. She starts here, begins delivering her line, and as she walks in, I'm zooming out on the 16-35. So not a servo zoom, that was a hand turn. It came out really good, and we were able to get almost, I think, every employee who was there that day in one shot.
Had a 7 a.m. call time this morning, and we are fully wrapped and out by 4:50 p.m. That is not bad. And weather is actually perfect right now. Not letting this one out of my sight though.
Disregard my beginner golf swing. I think this is the second time I've ever tried to drive, but my 100th vlog is coming up, and I want to answer all of the questions you guys have for me, whether it's filmmaking, freelancing, just doing this consistently as a career, how to get jobs, all of that. Put it in the comments, and I will answer all of it, hopefully in Puerto Rico, coming up in my 100th vlog.